It started with a lie so sharp, it split my world open. 12 years of marriage. 2 kids. A house with hydrangeas she insisted on planting every spring. I thought we were solid. Worn, maybe. Tired, sure. But real. Then came the courtroom bright lights, cold seats, and her voice trembling as she said, "He cheated." I didn't. Not once. But truth doesn't always matter when emotion is louder. The judge sided with her. She took the house. Took the kids. I lost my job in the scandal's aftershock. Who wants to hire the man whose wife wept on the stand about betrayal? For weeks, I lived in my car. Ate dollar menu meals and used gas stations to shave. Nights were the worst, staring at the ceiling of a stranger's apartment I could barely afford, listening to the silence. Grief doesn't scream. It whispers. Constantly. Rebuilding wasn't brave. It was mechanical. Wake. Work. Sleep. Repeat. I found a job loading trucks at a warehouse, 12-hour shifts that shredded my hands but numbed my mind. That numbness became survival. Pain was easier than remembering the giggle of my daughter when I read her bedtime stories, or the way my son used to wait by the door for me to come home. No one called. Not once. Not my kids. Not friends. Truth is, people don't want your side. They want the clean version, the obvious villain. I became that villain. Then, 1 year in, I bought a lottery ticket on a whim during my lunch break. Didn't think twice. Next day, I checked the numbers on my cracked phone screen. $5 million. I didn't feel joy. Just empty. And then, like clockwork, came the envelope. Legal letterhead. My ex-wife was suing for an increase in alimony, citing significant changes in financial standing. She smiled in court like she'd already won. I said nothing. But that night, I called a private investigator. Not to fight her. To study her. Because something never sat right with the way she looked at me when she lied. The detective's office smelled like old paper and burnt coffee. He handed me a folder with my name scrawled in ink across the top. Thick. Heavy. "You sure you want this?" he asked. I opened it anyway. Photos. Screenshots. Bank statements. She'd been seeing him 6 months before the divorce. Her coworker. Dinner dates. Hotel stays. Love notes that made my stomach turn. She'd deleted the messages, but the cloud doesn't forget. There was more. A second bank account in her name. She'd been siphoning money, small amounts, always just under our notification threshold for years. Over $80,000 gone. I didn't feel rage. I felt still. Like the moment, right before thunder cracks. Then I found the voicemail. I'll say he cheated first. No one questions the wife. Her voice. Clear. Calculated. I played it 5 times. Each time, something inside me settled. Not peace. Not yet. But clarity. In the courtroom, I said nothing. Just nodded as her lawyer spoke about fairness and long-term partnership. I waited. When the judge asked if I had anything to present, I stood, walked to the bench, handed over the evidence, neat, organized, damning. Then I pressed play on the voicemail. Silence. The kind that shatters glass. Her lawyer went pale first, eyes darting like he was searching for an exit that didn't exist. She stood, voice shaking. That's not what I meant. That was out of context. The judge raised a brow. Context, Mrs. Delaney? I sat back down, folded my hands. The judge read through the documentation, slowly emails, transactions, photos. Every page was another nail. He looked at me. Why didn't you bring this up before? Because I wanted to survive, I said. Now I want to live. They reopened our divorce case. Fraud, perjury, financial misconduct. I watched her unravel like a thread pulled too hard. The tears came loud, messy, not regretful, desperate. She reached for me once, right there in the courtroom. Whispered my name like it still belonged to her. I didn't flinch. Custody reversed. Alimony revoked. Restitution ordered. I walked out with my children, my daughter clinging to my hand, my son watching me like he was seeing me for the first time. She collapsed into her seat behind us. They say justice is blind. Maybe. But sometimes it sees. Outside, it was raining. My daughter looked up and said, "Are we going home now?" I nodded. For the first time in years, the word home didn't feel like a lie. I never got an apology. But I don't need one. Some wounds don't close because they're not meant to. They remind you of who you were, what you survived, and what you'll never let happen again. The money sits untouched in a trust. My kids are in therapy. So am I. Healing isn't linear, but it's forward. Sometimes I see her in town. She doesn't meet my eyes anymore. The fire she lit was meant to destroy me. Instead, I carry it now. Not rage, not vengeance. Just a quiet heat that reminds me I walked through hell and kept walking. She once said, "No one questions the wife." Maybe they should. Maybe we all should. Not with bitterness, but with truth. Because truth doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It just stands there, unshakable. And when the lies fall, silent truth remains.